Hello and welcome to the Comfort Legacies book review. And welcome back, Miss Lemoy. So happy to have you back. And we're going to just have this chat again about, well, we're going to finish where we left off at. And wanted to talk about the seeds of discouragement. So tell me how you've been doing and what's been going on since we left off.
Faye Michelle,
Yeah.
it is my pleasure to be back. I am back so quickly, and it is a blessing. I have been busy trying to, get the word out about my book, The Unknown Painter. So that takes a lot to promote, but it's a part of the process.
And before we get off, I really would like for you to flip through your book a little bit this time so we can get a chance to see what your illustrations are like. I've been anxious and wanting to see, um, some of the pages.
These are some of my illustrations.
And what age group?
So it 3 to 8.
3 to 8. Okay.
Yes.
Aw. Okay. I'm seeing the words. Okay. Okay. I can't wait to get to read the book.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. Okay. Well, you don't have to give away the whole story. I just wanted you to flip through it, see
Yeah.
some fun facts. Aw. So excited.
Absolutely.
I wanted to have you on to talk about the seeds of discouragement. For one, you have such an awesome spirit, and it ties into your devotional book. And after we talked last, I was thinking about how it all ties into other authors who may want to get started on being a writer and just feel like they don't have the support that they want or need.
I am happy that we're going to be talking about the seeds of discouragement tonight, because I do believe that is one of the greatest enemies to potential.
Right. And then the other thing is that in a traditional sense, it's not really open to a lot of people if you think about writing for the traditional industry. So with self-publishing has made it a lot more accessible to everyday people who actually have a book in them and really would like to get it out. And I feel like some people have been discouraged from writing that story that's within them. They really would like to share their story. Perhaps people feeling like they can't compete with the mainstream as far as just being authors. And then that means that kills their story inside. So they're not able to just really express what is within them. And like, the word says, your gifts will make room for you. So I wanted to speak to that because it really bothered me that I said, you know what, we just need a segment on seeds of discouragement, and you were the best person for me to hear that from right now. So I'm gonna sit back and let you have the floor. That was what I had to say about it. So you just go ahead on. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think seeds of discouragement is a real thing that we all face. And you may ask, so what is this discouragement that we're talking about? Discouragement could be that loss of confidence, that loss of enthusiasm. You no longer have that drive to succeed. You no longer have that drive to maximize your potential. And it's nothing that happens overnight. It is something that may have been festering. And so we could ask, what are some of the things that cause people to plant those seeds of discouragement? And I
Mhm.
think negative criticism is one of the greatest seeds that will contribute to discouragement. And I think it is so deep that criticism that is negative could penetrate the soul in such a profound way that it prevents you from dreaming. It prevents you from living. And criticism is good when it is positive, but when it is negative, it could really, move you away from that path that you're on. And as you spoke about that person who approached you, I am happy that the person approached you, and so you
Mhm.
were able to relay some of that message in love. Because I do believe at times it is important for us to face the reality. So we have to answer some tough questions, but it
Mhm.
is the way in which it is delivered is going to make a big difference. So when we do deliver even negative words or negative feedback, we want to ensure that we do so with gentleness, and we do so in love, because that could, create a seed that may not be easily uprooted. I
Mhm.
find too that even as we talk about potential authors who want to make that first step, discouragement and disappointment from people is also a factor that I believe contributes to the seeds of discouragement, especially Faye, when you expect that this person was going to cheer for me, this person would be rooting for me, but you find out that they're not rooting for you. What do you do? And so we become so discouraged because we don't have our cheerleaders. And I do believe that it is at that point where we need to find that intrinsic motivation. And
Mhm.
when we talk about seeds of discouragement, I'm thinking about the natural process of germination. If you have a seed and you place it in the soil and you provide it with water, and of course it's getting oxygen, very soon that seed is going to be developed in a plant. And if we should translate that to discouragement, so we have these seeds of discouragement being planted, and we're watering them, with
Mhm.
negative criticism, we're watering them with self doubt. Very soon, these seeds, they are going to be developed, and they're going to develop into hopelessness. And I think the death of a human being in terms of their potential is the loss of hope. And
Yes.
so, if these seeds of discouragement continue to fester and to germinate, they're given the good soil to germinate, then of course, hopelessness will be developed. Not only hopelessness, but also unworthiness and fear, not wanting to face the future, not wanting
Right.
to maximize that potential that God has given to you. And I do believe that it is discouragement is natural. It's a natural part of the human process, and we have seen it in the Bible where so many people were discouraged. But do we linger in discouragement? David even asked himself, "Why art thou cast down, O my soul?" And he gave himself the answer, "Hope thou in the Lord." So it's natural to feel discouraged. We all feel discouraged if we should be honest with ourselves. But what do we do when we are
Mhm.
discouraged? Do we stay in that position, or do we make a decision? We have to make a decision that, you know what, I am discouraged, but I'm still going to do it.
Amen. Okay. That being said, I wanted to encourage any authors, illustrators, and people that are in creation, in creative businesses, especially now where people they want to try their hand at their own businesses. And the pandemic has allowed so much of this to occur for us, where we can sit down and think about it and make things happen and make things possible that we weren't able to do because, we were either busy working and whatnot. And of course, a lot of us work from home, but still, I think it gives us a greater platform to venture out and learn more and do more and tech more. So there's a lot of people that really would like to start something new. It can be easily discouraged to say, you need a job, or how are you going to do that? Why are you going to do that? And it's for such a time as this. And now it may be just the best time for that individual to get out there and just really give it a whirl. So many businesses have been impacted in a negative way, but so many have been impacted and brought up because of COVID, because
Mhm.
a lot of people have been able to sit down and think about it and make it happen and write that vision
Mhm.
and see it manifest. But that's when the attacks happen. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's when the attacks happen.
Absolutely. I think you're so right. And two things. And I think this is one of the points I spoke about the last time that I was here, that you must be very careful as to
Mhm.
those you surround yourself with. You must be careful of those who are in your inner circle. You want to make sure that these are individuals who will support you. And when I say support, I don't mean that they're going to be blinded, that if you're going down in a hole because they love you, they won't tell you, but individuals who
Ah,
love you, but they're also objective. So they could support you and they could also tell you when you're going off track. And so you must ensure that you're communicating your vision to the right people, or the seed
right.
of discouragement will be sown. And sometimes it's very hard to get it out of your spirit, especially when it is coming from someone who maybe who is already established, and
Mm,
they're telling you, maybe a seasoned author, and they're telling you, because I realize that sometimes people tend to forget their journey, where they started, that it wasn't easy but I made it. And
mhm.
so you could do it too. So I think if more people were communicating to others that, you know what, this journey is not going to be easy, but I want you to know that if you're willing to do the work, it is possible. I remember a couple months ago, I wrote an article on don't be a win watcher. Don't be a win watcher. And so sometimes we could look at the seasons, and because the seasons are not looking in our favor, we're looking at the present condition, at the present
Mhm.
state, and
Mhm.
deciding not to venture, deciding not to plant. And your present reality does not dictate what your future outcome will be. And so I think just do it. Do it. If God has laid something on your heart to do, if it is that you should write a book, if it is that you should start a business, you should do it. And you must be comfortable with not knowing the way. You must be comfortable with not knowing how to solve the puzzle. Because I must tell you, it's sometimes as you take that one step of faith that God begins to open doors, and he
Yes.
begins to send different people to your life to help you to your next level. But if you stay in your comfort zone, if you stay in that set position, you will never be able to maximize your potential. You will never be able to do what God has called you to be. And so many people, Dr. Miles Monroe once said that the graveyard is one of the wealthiest places, because
Mhm.
so many people who should have been lawyers and doctors and authors and all these great things, they took back that gift, they took back that calling to the grave, because seeds of discouragement
Yeah.
prevented them.
I love Dr. Monroe. Oh my goodness. It
Mhm.
has I've spent a lot of time listening to his videos and whatnot. Um, that is a very good point. We should just press on and do,
Mhm.
do what we should do. For me, I know the Lord has just told me that is not going to happen. Do not. depend or think or even share the things that I want you to do on some platform, on some levels, because of that seed of discouragement. Some people that are in our circles, they care, they love us, and maybe they're doing it from an area of protection. They just want to protect you from hurting or falling or failing. But that's what we need to do: fall, fail, and forward, forward. It's often as parents need to do with their children, often let them make their way, you know. So, but we look to the people that are closest to us, and oftentimes we can even get discouraged before we ever even get started because we look up to them so much and we value their opinion. I remember thinking once, I said, if I take it to my father and he tells me no, then I know it's a go because I do everything that he tells me not to do. It doesn't, I'm not saying it always works out in my favor, but I do it anyway because I know that's what I have to do. If he says no, then I know I have to do it. I just got to try this thing. We can laugh about it later, but I'm definitely going to do it. So, but I have just enjoyed this. I wanted to, touch on that and encourage people and other authors and illustrators and creators, people that are out there, just to don't give up and push forward. I know you said you had a wonderful experience and you had your story and it kind of happened unexpectedly or whatever, and you had that wake up call and about, why don't I just put this in a book? Did you ever experience any of that discouragement along the way?
Absolutely. I did experience discouragement along the way. Even though I think the process for me to get the work in was not difficult, but I did experience discouragement along the way. Sometimes you're overwhelmed in other
Mhm.
areas of your life, and it does carry over onto that creative side. So I too have experienced discouragement where I have to talk to myself, I have to speak to myself. And I think one of the things that helped me along the way is to look back on, my journey, the journey
Mhm.
that I have had. I came to Canada 8 years ago as an international student, not knowing how I was going to make it. I came with only my first semester tuition. Uh,
And where are you from?
I'm from Jamaica originally. I came with my first semester tuition in one hand, and in another, I had God, faith, and perseverance. And
Mhm.
so every time I feel discouraged, it takes me back to that moment that, God, He who has carried me thus far, is still able to carry me to the end. And that is why I say that, discouragement is inevitable. Okay, will it be good enough? Okay, how will this happen? So it is inevitable, but what do you do with it? Do you sit and be discouraged forever, or you say, I am discouraged, but I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to trust God that He influences the outcome, because we could do all we can, but at the end of the day, and this is just my belief, it is God who influences the outcome. And so He's not going to do everything for us because He already knows our ability or capacity. And so that dream that is given to you, God know that He knows that you are well able to
Well,
deliver. And so I would say to that person tonight or today, whenever you're going to watch this video, just go ahead and do what is on your heart, knowing that God is with you. And one of the things that I have come to realize that God is just waiting for us to take that one step. And, I look back to 8 years ago and I looked on the fact that You only have one semester tuition. Where are you going? I would not be in this position tonight to be an author, to reach the point of getting a master's degree if I had allowed the discouragement that were inevitable. It was in my face. I didn't have the finances, I didn't have the resources, but I was still able to press past all of that and say, God, I am going to trust you. I'm going to believe you that you're able. And so, if I was supposed to say to a person who is discouraged tonight, what should you do? I would say number one, call on God. He wants you to call on him. He wants you to tell him how you feel. And his words reassure us that no one who hope in God will be ever put to shame. I would say speak to yourself. There are days when you're going to be discouraged and you won't have Faye, you won't have Lemoy in your corner to encourage you. And so you will have to speak to yourself. You will also have to uncover, why am I feeling this way? Why am I discouraged about this situation? So dissect that situation and to identify what is the source of your discouragement. Because if you're not able to identify the source, you will not be able to deal with it. And I want you to also be willing to fail. Yes, be willing to fail. Failure is part of this recipe to success. You must be willing to fail. You will fail. But the good thing is, when you do fail, don't stay in a failed position. The next thing I would say to you, don't control those things that are out of your control. There are some things are that are out of our control, and so if we try to control them, we will, become even more discouraged. And number was I giving a number all this while? But the
I,
last
I think it was probably number three if it was a number. Okay.
and the last thing I would say to you is hold your head up. Hold
Hmm.
your head up, put a smile on your face, even when your spirit is not feeling that way, and
Yeah.
do what needs to get done. And you too will have a testimony. I am sure that if Faye and myself, if we wallowed for long in our discouragement, we
Yes.
would not be here today to share our experience with you. So I
That's
know it's possible.
that is so true. Well said. Well said. I just love this platform. I love the fact that, like I said before, that authors are coming out and telling their stories and getting it out. And the reason why I think I like it so much is because what I'm hearing from people is how healing it is for them. And I
Mhm.
think that that's what's driven me and driving me to this. It's not just the stories, it's the message behind the stories for that individual that told the story. Today I was doing another interview, and the author said she came about writing her story because her son was in school and someone talked about his hair. And for her, it disturbed her. She wanted to know how to help her son. And, because of the different colors and multi skins that we all have, she said her mom was peach. She's dark. And he's brown. And we have, in the African American community, and we're just diverse as brown hair, blonde hair, redheads and what have you, blue eyes, brown eyes. Is just a diverse mixture of us. And so she wanted to make sure that he understood that we're all the same in,
Mhm.
some capacity. And it became pretty big for her. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So,
amazing, though, how, progress can be birthed from pain. And
ah,
so the discouragement that you are faced with today could be
mhm,
your progress story for tomorrow. And imagine if she had, wallowed in
mhm,
that maybe self pity or why me. she would not be able to make such a greater impact. And I think to a part of success is pain. Success can be
Mm,
very painful, but we must be willing to go through it and to know that pain is for a greater purpose.
yes,
And I'm sure that what she's doing now is going to be impactful not only for this generation, but the generation to come. And one thing I want folks to know is that your story is important, and
yes.
there will always be an audience for you. So there is a place for you in the world. So never minimize your story or think that it's not good enough, nobody's going to
Yes.
listen. Your story is good enough, and there is certainly a place for you that no one else could fill but you. And if you fail to fill that space, then that space will be empty and no one will know that you once walked this way. So don't allow discouragement to prevent you from occupying your space.
And therefore, you will not be an unknown painter.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. If you win that war over discouragement, you will never be an unknown painter.
That's right, right. Now your shirt is matching your book very well. It almost looks like it's a canvas.
That's true. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
Yeah, the cover it is matching it perfectly. It's almost like, it was set up meant to be.
And I
Oh, Lemoy.
and I know and I would have saved it for I could still save it for the launch.
Right? It's perfect. It's perfect.
It's true.
Oh, Miss Lemoy, it's been wonderful and so great to have you again. We will be doing this again. I think we'll have a standing.
Yes, I'm on Amazon, but folks could reach out to me as well.
Do you have a website?
I do. So my website is singlespursuingpurpose.com. And very soon we'll have lemoywillbe.com. But yeah, please check
Oh,
out
okay.
singlespursuingpurpose.com and
Okay.
join. Still, sometimes I'm still lost because it was just a idea. It was a story, a devotional, and then the idea came, and then you know, to see an idea that is intangible become tangible. It's really a great experience. So I would say to folks, listen, go do it.
What did it feel like when you got that first manuscript, that book in your hand? Not your manuscript, but your book in hand. What was that
You
like?
You wouldn't want to be in my house. I was jumping, I was screaming, I was
Oh,
celebrating, I was giving thanks. It's just magical when you
magical.
see the work of your hands in tangible form. I was jumping, I was screaming, I was doing everything you could think of. So it's an experience that I would want everybody to have. You
I
know,
think that that's the third time I heard that today, that it was magical. So I'm gonna leave that question. I'm gonna keep that question as a big one there. What
yeah.
does it feel like? Because yeah, it was magical. It is that moment. It feels very special. It's a unique thing just to be able. It's almost like holding that baby, and you look down at it and you're like, oh my goodness, a creation. And when you see that book, those words, wow, it does take you away. It blows you away, like it's in your hand. And you feel like, if nobody holds this book but me, it's mine. It's mine.
Oh, I'm telling you, I don't know what I'm gonna do when I actually have a baby and realize it's mine. The way
Right.
how I was jumping for that book, you would think.
Wow. That's amazing. Well, Miss Lemoy, it's been pleasurable, and we're going to say goodbye. Thanks to everyone, our viewers, for watching and listening to us. And we hope that we have spread some seeds of encouragement and that you will be blessed and walk in your purpose. And do not become the unknown painter which is Lemoy's book title, and get it. Definitely.
A great pleasure again to connect, and we will certainly have more opportunities to connect.
Yes.